What is love? Well, it's complicated, and maybe that's what makes it so interesting. Ask 100 different people for a definition of love, and they will probably give you 100 different answers. In English, it sometimes has a very strong meaning. It can mean affection, loyalty, care, compassion, concern, devotion. You can love your family, your children, your spouse, your country. But love in English can also mean whatever random passion you happen to have at the moment. You can love the latest viral dance craze or a caramel McFlurry. Let me give you two classic definitions of love. They're a little bit abstract, but I think they're useful. And I think that they express the two central aspects that will be true for any genuine love. The first definition: love seeks union. We want to be united with the one that we love. If I love someone, I care for them, I miss them, I want to be with them, I want to share my life with them. Think of the opposite. If I told you I was passionately in love with someone, but I had absolutely no intention of ever seeing them again, you'd be a little bit suspicious. So, love seeks union. And the second definition: love seeks the good of the other. If I love someone, I want to do good for them, I want to help them. It's not just about what I take from this relationship, it's what I give as well. Maybe there is a cost for me, a sacrifice. I'm trying to look beyond my own needs and think about what will really benefit the other person. Sometimes love is just hard work. There's a lot of give and take. It's interesting that in the Italian language, there are two ways of saying I love you. Ti amo means simply I love you, ti amo. You say it when you're dating someone or when you're falling in love. It's the love of union. And the other phrase in Italian is ti voglio bene, ti voglio bene. It means I wish you well, or I want what is good for you. It's the love of sacrifice, but it's also about affection. And in many ways, it's got an even deeper meaning than just saying, ti amo, I love you. It implies that there's a relationship of trust, of commitment, that you really want to honor and believe in this person. Both of these meanings are in the Bible. The love that God has for his people Israel in the Old Testament is like the love of a bridegroom for his bride. And interestingly, Jesus speaks about himself as the bridegroom who longs to be united with his bride, the community of the church. The other meaning is there as well, the sacrificial meaning. God calls his people to love the poor, the sick, the widow, the stranger, the outcast. And Jesus asks us to be servants of each other. He gives us the example of his own life. He goes on his knees to wash the feet of his disciples. He gives generously his body and blood at the Last Supper, and he gives his very life in sacrifice on the cross. So love seeks union, and love gives itself in sacrifice. A beautiful example of this for me is the life of Dorothy Day, who founded the Catholic worker movement in New York in the 1930s, a long way from the tranquility of this village here in the south of England. Dorothy Day was someone who gave her life completely in love for the poor. She opened soup kitchens on the street corners of New York. This was the time of the Great Depression. She set up refuge centres for the homeless. She called them houses of hospitality. And she even bought a farm in the countryside outside the city so that people from the inner cities could have an experience of beauty and community. It was a life of total sacrifice, but she did it out of love. She loved the people she cared for with such affection. She lived with them, she shared her life with them. In fact, it wasn't about doing good for them, it was about living with them. And even more, it wasn't about us or them. It was about a community of brothers and sisters living together. Now, it might sound like a recipe for chaos, and certainly there were a few crises along the way, but it worked. And it shows you that love needs passion and affection, but it also needs sacrifice and sometimes sheer hard work. Now, this is true not just for New York in the 1930s. It's true for us today in our ordinary lives, wherever we are. It's true for our families, our friends, our communities, our schools, our places of work. We need a love that seeks union, and we need a love that seeks the good of the other. And when these two things come together, that is the deepest meaning of love.